Good morning, dear students. Welcome to this new session. Today, I'll be taking up the new chapter from Vistas, that is The Enemy, written by Pearl S. Buck. Now, this is a story of a Japanese doctor. Now, we are grateful to our doctors in this COVID-19 period who are incessantly working and taking care of so many coronavirus infected patients, risking their own lives. Now, I found this story to be relevant in this period because a doctor has a moral responsibility and a duty to perform. A doctor, when he completes his studies, he has to take a Hippocratic oath. And this Hippocratic oath makes him swear that he shall make no discrimination between his patients. A patient, a sick person, would be just a patient for him, regardless of the caste, creed, religion, community, sect, etc. So, even nowadays you can see that how the various doctors, nurses, the medical staff, and although others are also helping, but these people are in direct contact with the infected people, and due to this, in this pandemic period, they also risk their life. They are in a danger zone too. So when they are doing this kind of work, when they are risking their own lives, and you must have heard that so many doctors also lost their lives because of the infection that was transmitted to them also, and therefore the doctors have not stopped their work. The doctors are continuously doing it because they consider it to be their duty. They are taking care of the patients day and night. They are working round the clock to see that the infection does not spread and the disease is to be controlled. So here is a story of a doctor in which the doctor is in a dilemma how to and what to do. What is a dilemma? Dilemma is a condition where you have two unfavorable or maybe favorable situations and you are supposed to decide. One has to take a decision while he is given two options. Children, you also must have faced such kind of situations or dilemmas, when your mom must be preparing something very good or tasty delicacies for you, even though you want to take both of them because both are very delicious. You are in a dilemma. So these are some funny dilemmas. We have, categorized, there are categories of dilemmas. Some dilemmas are moral dilemmas and some dilemmas are, light-hearted dilemmas. What should you do? What to do? And similarly, dilemmas like you used to have when your friends used to invite you for a party. Now what to do? Whether to follow the rules and regulations at home or to go for a party, although it is not applicable in these days, but I'm talking about the times when you were. So there are, sometimes you have such kind of situations in life where when you really are in a fix, you are in a dilemma to which one to choose, and the best that you choose is as per your own individual conscience. So here in this story, a doctor who belongs to Japan, And at the time of World War II, when Japan and America were fighting like enemies in this war, they the Americans were not tolerated by Japanese, and the Japanese were not tolerated by the Americans. In fact, there was a warlike situation. There was, but this doctor, who was a Japanese, happens to find an American soldier who was unconscious, who was badly wounded and bleeding profusely. So he was in a dilemma. He did not know what to do. Now he had to perform his duty as a doctor and as a patriot. He could not be inhuman to the patient or the wounded person. On the other hand, if he helped the enemy soldier, he would have been called a traitor. He would not be considered as a patriot. So how did he solve this dilemma? What did he do? Let us read the story and find out. Yes, dear students, reading is very, very crucial, because reading activates your thinking skills. You know, this story written by the author is actually a war fiction. The war is the reality, but being imaginative and bringing out some thoughtful ideas, some thoughtful message, you can certainly be imaginative. You know, fiction, I believe everybody knows fiction. So whether a story is fiction or non-fiction, when you read it, it activates your thinking power, your observation power, and of course all the other writing skills, vocabulary, comprehension, all those are enhanced. But at the same time, the most important is your thinking skills. All these stories that we have been reading and listening right from our childhood, they have left an impact on our minds. Don't you think so? Yes. So if you go back to the nursery story, the thirsty crow, you really feel that it is still there, embedded somewhere in the subconscious level of your mind, and you really remember the message of that short story which your teacher must have told you in your kindergarten times. So this is the impact of stories when you read it. Of course, when you listen, when you were young, you listened to the stories and they left an impact on you. But now that you are grown up, you have the reasoning power, you have the intellect to understand. You must read the story. I am emphasizing on reading again and again because this is a very long story, first of all, and secondly, when you read it on your own, as I told you just a few minutes ago, that it will activate your thinking power. That is very important. If you're not thinking anything good, nothing happens. So only when you put your thinking skills into an active mode, you really work wonders. So we'll start with the chapter. Okay, students, so we are going to start with the short story, The Enemy, written by Pearl S. Buck. Now, before we start reading, we shall know about the author. Pearl Cedric Stricker Buck was an American writer and novelist. As the daughter of missionaries, Buck spent most of her life before 1934 in Zhenjiang, China. Her novel, The Good Earth, was the best-selling fiction book in the United States in 1931 and 32, and she won the Pulitzer Prize in 1932. The Hippocratic Oath. Students, that I was just talking about a few minutes ago. The Hippocratic Oath taken by the author is an oath of ethics historically taken by the physicians. It is one of the most widely known of Greek medical texts. In its original form, it requires a new physician to swear by a number of healing gods to uphold specific ethical standards. The oath is the earliest expression of medical ethics in the Western world, establishing several principles of medical ethics which remain of paramount significance today. These include the principles of medical confidentiality and non-maleficence. So these two words are very important because this is the oath that they take about, and this is the doctors swear that they will keep the medical confidentiality and non-maleficence, no harm to the patients, whatever or whoever be the patient. Since we are going to read the story of Dr. Sadao, a Japanese doctor, and the primary responsibility and duty of a doctor, as just now we have come to know that the doctors take a Hippocratic oath. But why the name Hippocratic Oath? So many of you may not be knowing. Please note that Hippocratic actually is based on the name Hippocrates II. He was a Greek physician of the age of Pericles, that is classical Greece. He is considered one of the most outstanding figures in the history of medicine. He is often referred to as the father of medicine, in recognition to his lasting contributions to the field as the founder of the Hippocratic School of Medicine. This intellectual school revolutionized ancient Greek medicine. And so, the oath taken by the doctors till date is known as Hippocratic Oath. So before we start, let us know the setting of the story. The story takes place on a coastal town of Japan in the year 1941, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, a war going on between America and Japan. Japanese were hostile to the Americans and ready to kill any American found in their soil. Theme. The enemy gives us the message that humanism transcends all man-made prejudices and barriers. Dr. Sadao upholds the ethics of medical profession in treating an enemy. The story is a great lesson of peace, love, sympathy, fellow feeling, and humanism. So, the theme is about not only the doctor's dilemma, but also it gives you the message of peace, love, sympathy, fellow feeling, and humanism. Now let us also focus on the characters that we shall read about in this story. The first character is the main character of the story is Dr. Sadao Hoki. He is a Japanese doctor trained by Americans because he had gone for his study of medicine to America. Sadao's father, much concerned about his son's education, a true patriot. Hana, wife of Dr. Sadao, whom Dr. Sadao had met in America, and they became friends and got married in Japan. Tom, an American prisoner of war, a soldier of US Navy. The old general, a sick Japanese army general, needed an operation, trusted only Dr. Sadao. An officer, a messenger of the general. Gardner, an old gardener in the house of Dr. Sadao, and Yimi, Hana's maid servant. Okay, students, now let us have a quick look at the gist of the lesson, which are the main points of the story. Sadao, a Japanese surgeon, finds a wounded American soldier on the beach near his house. He is unable to throw him back, though he was his enemy, as he was a doctor and his first duty was to save a life. Hana, his wife, though initially reluctant because it was dangerous for all, including the children, to keep the enemy in the house, joins her husband in operating and nursing the enemy soldier back to health, even though the servants desert the house. Servants desert the house because they all leave. They refuse to help the doctor and his wife in nursing the enemy soldier because they felt that it was not appropriate to take care of an enemy. Hana assists Dr. Sadao in operating the soldier in spite of her physical discomfort and hesitation. Though it was wartime and all hands were needed at the front, the general did not send Sadao with the troops, as he is an expert surgeon and the general needed him. Sadao tells him about the enemy soldier, but he does not take any action as he is self-absorbed and forgets his promise that he would send his private assassins to kill the enemy and remove his body. Taking advantage of the general's self-absorption, Sadao decides to save the soldier's life. After the soldier is out of danger, Dr. Sadao helps him to escape from his house to a safety or a safer place. So this is all the story in what you're going to read. Although it is a bit longer story, but we will start reading the story first of all and try to enjoy what it is about. Now, as I told you that it is a war fiction, the story is absolutely interesting and it should interest you also. I hope you all must have downloaded the NCERT books and you must have also found this story there. In case you haven't, you can read from here. Now, before you read, you have to know the basic setting of the story. Once again, it is the time of the World War. It is the Second World War that the author is writing about. An American prisoner of war, POW in short. Prisoner of war, POW. Prisoner of war is washed ashore in a dying state and is found at the doorstep of a Japanese doctor. Should he save him as a doctor or hand him over to the army as a patriot? Now, this is the dilemma. This is the question. Dr. Sadao Hoki's house was built on a spot of the Japanese coast where, as a little boy, he had often played. So this is the position of his house. It was at the Japanese coast, that is seashore. The low, square stone house was set upon rocks well above a narrow beach that was outlined with bent pines. Pines are the tall trees, when they grow very tall, they just bend. As a boy, Sadao had climbed the pines, supporting himself on his bare feet, as he had seen men do in the South Seas when they climbed for coconuts. So this is also a very common sight. Most of you must have seen that just like the coconut trees which grow very tall and they bend from the top end, and the people who want to pluck the coconuts, they climb upon it. They similarly, this boy Sadao, when he was a small boy, he used to do with that with the pine trees. His father had taken him often to the islands of those seas, and never had he failed to say to the little brave boy at his side. So his father used to take him to the seashore, and he used to never fail to say, that is, you can see two negative words are used in this: never and failed. So these two negative sentences make a positive sense, which means that he did say. Every time he took him to the seashore, he used to show him the islands far away, and he used to tell this brave boy, his son, that those islands yonder means those far away islands in the seas, they are the stepping stones to the future for Japan. Where shall we step from them? Sadao had asked seriously. So Sadao wanted to know, when his father used to tell him that this is the stepping stone for future or for Japan, then he used to ask him, where shall we step from them? Now where shall we reach after stepping those islands? Who knows, his father had answered, who can limit our future? It depends on what we make it. So this is how you can see Sadao's father was a patriot. He was very much concerned about his country's progress, and he was very optimistic, and he used to feel that his country would be the most successful one and the most developed one. Sadao had taken this into his mind as he did everything his father said. So Sadao, as a boy, was also very obedient, and whatever his father commanded or advised him, he did the same. His father, who never joked or played with him, but who spent infinite pains upon him, who was his only son. And the father-son bonding was also very, very strong, and father was very caring, and he used to take a lot of pains and make so many efforts to see that his only son was a successful person when he grew up. Sadao knew that his education was his father's chief concern, and he was very, very much concerned about his son's education. Chief concern, the primary importance that he gave to was his son's education. For this reason, he had been sent at 22 to America to learn all that could be learned of surgery and medicine. So he sent his son to America. This was the condition before war, and he got the education, or he got the degree in medicine and learned surgery from America. He had come back at 30, and before his father died, he had seen Sadao become famous not only as a surgeon but as a scientist. So this was the high hope of the father, who was so caring and very much concerned about his son, as all the fathers are. Like you, even your dad must be very concerned about your studies, your future, your progress, and they want to see you at a high position in life. Similarly, Sadao's father also was concerned, and he wanted his son to be not only a surgeon but a scientist too, because he was perfecting a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean. Now this is very important. You can see that he wanted his son to be a scientist and do something excellent in his field. So what Sadao did was, he was perfecting a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean. He had not been sent abroad with the troops. Also, he knew there was some slight danger that the old general might need an operation for a condition for which he was now being treated medically, and for this possibility, Sadao was being kept in Japan. Now, at the time of World War II, the general who was in charge of the troop, he did not send this doctor, because even the doctors were sent to the forward areas at the where the soldiers used to get wounded, and they had to take care of them. But this general, who himself did not go he to the battlefield, he kept Sadao also along with him, because he needed utmost medical care, and the general had a full faith in Sadao only. And Sadao was also perfecting a discovery in which he wanted to find out how the wounds can be kept entirely clean without they getting any further infected. So the general also kept Sadao in Japan itself, and he was not sent to the battlefield. Clouds were rising from the ocean now. The unexpected warmth of the past few days had at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. Sadao watched mists hide outlines of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house, wreathing around the pines. In a few minutes, fog would be wrapped about the house too. Then he would go into the room where Hana, his wife, would be waiting for him with the two children. So this is the situation that particular day, when Dr. Sadao had found the prisoner, that how was the weather condition that day. Since it is a seashore side, his house was at the beach side, the weather conditions used to be like this always, and the clouds were rising from the ocean, and he could see the weather becoming bad. There was the unexpected warmth of the past few days had at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. So a few days ago, Dr. Sadao felt it was warm, and therefore it has given rise to heavy fog from the cold waves. So he, after moving from the beach, and he thought that he should go back to his house, his room, and as the weather was getting worse, and he went inside where his wife Hana and his children were waiting for him. But at this moment, the door opened and she looked out, a dark blue woolen haori over her kimono. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled, and said nothing. He had met Hana in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. So in this paragraph, you can see that the author is telling about how Dr. Sadao and Hana had met in America. At that moment, when he was just trying to enter his house, the door opened by Hana. She was wearing a woolen haori. Haori is an over the garment which is worn. It's a loose garment which is worn over the kimono. Kimono is a Japanese dress worn by the ladies, and upon that she was wearing a overcoat or overgarment like. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled, and said nothing. He had met Hana in America, but he waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. Now, this was the condition there, that she should be a Japanese because his father was an Orthodox. As I told you earlier, that he was very much, very patriot kind of a person who only thought about the development of his own country, and he was an Orthodox person. His father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race. Race belonging to Japan. The race belonging to Japan. He wanted, and Sadao knew that his father would not accept Hana if she would not have been Japanese. So until he was sure that she was a Japanese girl, he did not fall in love with her. So he wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hana, and by what luck he had found her in the most casual way by chance, literally at an American professor's house. So the author is telling you how Dr. Sadao and Hana had met. And Dr. Sadao really wondered who would have been the girl if he would not have met Hana, because the girl would have been from somewhere from Japan and of his father's choice. So he was happy and feeling lucky that at an American professor's house he met Hana, and there they fell in love with each other. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious to do something for their few foreign students. So where Dr. Sadao was studying, his professor and his wife had been very anxious people. They were very hospitable, and they used to really be eager always to do something to help their foreign students. As they were American, the professor and his wife, they used to have a number of foreign students, and all the students, though bored, had accepted this kindness. Now they were very kind, very helpful to them, but sometimes this used to make the students get bored of their kindness. Sadao had often told Hana how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night. So Dr. Sadao and Hana remembered that how they had met at the professor's house, but at the same time Dr. Sadao was telling Hana that he would have missed her, he would not have been married to her if that day he would not have gone to the professor's house, because nearly he was about to drop the idea of going to professor's house, and but it was lucky for him that he went, though unwillingly, but something good happened to his life. And why he didn't want to go to the professor's house? The reason: the rooms were so small, the food so bad, the professor's wife so voluble. The professor's wife was so voluble, that is, she used to talk incessantly, continuously. She used to go on speaking, and the food also was so bad. He didn't like the food prepared by this American professor's wife. The rooms were also very small and congested. But he had gone, and there he had found Hana, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. If it were at all possible, because he also had to check whether she was a Japanese student. Now he felt her hand on his arm and was aware of the pleasure it gave him, even though they had been married years enough to have the 2 children. For they had not married heedlessly in America. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan, and when his father had seen her, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way, although Sadao and Hana had talked everything over beforehand. They were perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. So they were a happily married couple, even though it was a love marriage. Dr. Sadao had to come back to Japan and get the confirmation from his father. Only when his father had seen Hana, he accepted her and was ready to get them married in an old Japanese way. So everything was very much arranged and solemnized in a traditional way. The marriage was conducted in a old Japanese way. So this shows that how his father was very particular about their own traditions and customs. Therefore, Dr. Sadao also, even as a boy, he used to always be obedient to what his father said, and even when he was about to get married, he did not have his say. He took the confirmation and acceptance of his father. He respected his father's opinion and feelings. So now they were perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist, the fog. And they saw suddenly, when they were talking, when they were just standing at the door of their house, they saw something black coming out of the fog. It was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean. Flung means thrown. It looked as though the man has been thrown out of the waves from the ocean. It seemed to his feet by a breaker. He staggered a few steps. He was not walking at the beach side, okay? He was thrown out because he was not able to control his feet. He was not able to stand or walk properly. He staggered a few steps. That means he was not able to balance his body while walking, as though somebody had pushed him. His body outlined against the mist, his arms above his head. Now the fog was surrounding his body and it was looking as though it is outlining, the outline of the particular object. His arms above his head. Then the curled mists hid him again. And there was still, the fog was so dense that again he disappeared in the fog and they could not see him clearly. "Who is that?" Hana cried. She dropped Sadao's arm and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda. So they were surprised. Who has appeared suddenly out of the fog? So they looked and they started looking for what it was. Now they saw him again. So again the fog cleared and he came out. Now they saw him again. The man was on his hands and knees crawling. The man was not able to walk. And what had happened to him? So then they saw him fall on his face and lie there. So the man was so not able to balance his body, not able to walk either, and finally he fell down on his face and lay there. "A fisherman, perhaps," Sadao said, "washed from his boat." So because there was storm and cold waves and fog, Sadao felt that he must have been a fisherman who did not come back before the storm, and therefore he was washed from his boat, thrown out from his boat. He ran quickly down the steps behind him. Hana came, her wide sleeves flying. Wide sleeves of the haori, the overcoat that she was wearing. They were very, very broad. And they were loose. It was a loose garment, so it was just flying due to the wind. A mile or two away on the either side there were fishing villages. So Sadao had a doubt that he was a fisherman because just nearby their house they had a fishing village, many fishing villages, but here was only the bare and lonely coast. So their house was quite far off from those fishing villages, and it was the bare and lonely coast, dangerous with rocks. So sometimes you must have seen that there are rocks also on which the waves come and strike. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks, so you can hardly see the rocks. spikes. Only the tip of the pointed tip of the rocks can be seen. The surf, the waves, the water is it comes with such a force on the rocks that only the tip of the rocks can be seen, and anybody can get hurt. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. He must be badly torn. So somehow this man had been hit with the rocks due to the waves, and perhaps this man has been badly wounded, torn. They saw when they came towards him that indeed it was so. So they felt that he was really wounded when they saw him. Whatever their doubt was, that the man is wounded and therefore he is not able to walk. So this doubt was cleared when they came near him. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of red soaking through. So the sand beside, or the sand where he was lying, had become red because of the blood that was oozing out of his body. "He is wounded," Sadao exclaimed. He made haste to the man. So haste, hurry up. Very quickly he went towards the man because he was wounded and he was bleeding. The man lay motionless, his face in the sand, an old cap stuck to his head, soaked with sea water. He was in wet rags of garments. Sadao stopped, Hana at his side, and turned the man's head. They saw the face. "A white man," Hana whispered, talked in very soft voice, because in Japan they were not supposed to entertain any white man belonging to America. So Hana was really astonished that what would they do? This injured man is a white man. He's not a Japanese fisherman. Instead, he was an American sailor. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away, and there was his wet yellow hair, long, as though for many weeks it had not been cut, and upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. So the wounded person, was in such a condition that he did not even know where he had reached, who was looking at them, how are they going to help him. Now Sadao remembered the wound, and with his expert fingers he began to search for it. Expert fingers. Because he was a doctor, he knew where to look for the wound, and so as an expert doctor, he quickly tried to find out from where he was bleeding. Blood flowed freshly at his touch. On the right side of his lower back, Sadao saw that a gun wound had been reopened. The flesh was blackened with powder. Sometime not many days ago, that means the wound was a very very fresh one, and he had been shot a few days ago. The man had been shot and had not been tended. It was bad chance that the rock had struck the wound, and that wound, which was caused due to a bullet or a shot, had been again aggravated by the striking of the rocks. "Oh, how he is bleeding," Hana whispered again in a solemn voice. The mists screened them now completely. Mist screened. Look at the beautiful description of you can imagine this picturesque description. The mist screened them. Screened means become like a screen. So the fog covered them like a screen completely. And at this time of day, no one came by. The fishermen had gone home, and even the chance beachcombers would have considered the day at an end. So no fishermen would be there, and no beachcombers who enjoy at the beach. Even they would have thought that it is the end of the day, it is the night time. Now they would not go near the beach. "What shall we do with this man?" Sadao muttered. Now Sadao did not know what they were supposed to do with that man. He was wounded, unconscious, and this was the dilemma that Sadao had in his mind. But his trained hands seemed of their own will to be doing what they could do to stanch the fearful bleeding. He packed the wounds. He packed the wound with the sea moss that strewed the beach. So, at that time, Dr. Hana and Dr. Sadao did not have anything to cover his wound, so they picked up the sea moss. Moss are the small green algae-like plants in the water plants, and so they picked up those sea moss that had strewed the beach, which had scattered on the beach. So they picked up that and just covered his wound, because Dr. Sadao's hands refused to do nothing for the wounded person, because being a doctor, he was bent upon or forced by his moral or ethics of a doctor that he should save the man, whether he was an enemy or not. The man moaned with pain in his stupor, but he did not awaken. So he started moaning. Moaning means making noises due to the pain, extreme pain, and he was in his stupor, that is unconscious state, but he did not awaken. He did not get up. The best thing that he could do would be to put him back in the sea, Sadao said, answering himself. So Sadao did not know what to do. He was thinking what to do and answered to his own question what to do. The best thing that we could do would be to put him back in the sea. So they thought that he should be put in the sea back again. Now that the bleeding was stopped for the moment, he stood up and dusted the sand from his hands. Yes, undoubtedly that would be best, Hana said steadily. Hana also accepted, he should be, because he is an enemy, he is an American, so he should be thrown back in the sea. But she continued to stare down at the motionless man. If we sheltered a white man in our house, we should be arrested. And if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die, Sadao said. Now this is the question that Sadao is wondering, and he is wondering what the situation would be if he gives shelter to the white man, to the American person in his house. Then he would be arrested. He and his family members would be arrested. And if he turned him over as a prisoner, and if he informed his country, the police and the soldiers or the general, then as a prisoner he would be arrested and he would certainly die. So both the situations were not agreeable to Sadao. The kindest thing would be to put him back into the sea, Hana said. So Hana felt that the polite way or the kindness that they can do or show to the prisoner was that to put him in the water back. But neither of them moved. They were staring with a curious repulsion upon the inert figure. Inert, you know what is inert? Inert figure, motionless, having no motion at all. You know the state of inertia, you have studied. So you can take this is a root word, inert figure. They were staring with curious repulsion. Their own thoughts, they were not agreeable to them. So they were thinking many things. They were thinking of throwing him back in the sea, but they could not move from their place because their own physically there was a repulsion. They were against what they were thinking. What is he? Hana whispered. There is something about him that looks American, Sadao said. He took up the battered cap. Battered, torn cap. Yes, there, almost gone, was the faint lettering. So, what was written on the cap? A sailor. Faint lettering. The letters had become faint because it would have been in water for a very long time. So, he thought that, but he could read it even though it had become faint. It was written a sailor from an American warship. He spelled it out, US Navy. The man was a prisoner of war. So now they have identified who he was. He was a prisoner of war from US Navy. He has escaped, Hana cried softly, and that is why he is wounded. In the back, Sadao agreed. They hesitated, looking at each other. Then Hana said with resolution, taking a decision now. It was time for them to decide what to do with the man. Come, are we able to put him back into the sea? If I am able, are you? So Hana and Sadao asking each other what to do, and they were not really sure what should they do with the prisoner. No, Hana said, but if you can do it alone? Sadao hesitated again. The strange thing is, he said, that if the man were whole, I could turn him over to the police without difficulty. If the man were whole means not injured, not wounded, in a conscious state of mind, all okay. So Sadao thought that if he would have been perfectly all right, then he would have handed him over to the police without difficulty. I care nothing for him. He is my enemy. All Americans are my enemy, and he is only a common fellow. You see how foolish his face is, but since he is wounded, so he is justifying his own contradictory thoughts. Sadao is having two types of thoughts, two contradictory thoughts in his mind. As a doctor, he had a different opinion, and as a patriot, as a Japanese, he had a different opinion. And so he feels that all the Americans are his enemies, and therefore he would not help him. You also cannot throw him back to the sea. Hana is even more sympathetic and polite, and she asks Sadao that you cannot throw him back to the sea. You cannot be so cruel to him. Then there is only one thing to do. We must carry him into the house. But the servants, Sadao inquired. So we should carry him back to the house, take him there, take care of him. That is the only way out. The decision taken by Hana. Sadao was worried, but the servants in the house, what if they come to know that he is an American? So still the decision is not perfectly taken. We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police, as indeed we must, Sadao. We must think of the children and your position. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war. So Hana's view was that let us take him home, and then we will tell the servants that they were intending to give him to the police, and they wanted to save their own position. Otherwise, they would have been arrested for keeping an enemy in their house. Certainly, Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else. Thus agreed, together they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half starved for a long time, until it is only feathers and skeleton. So when Hana and Sadao lifted the man, he was very light, because it seemed as though it was like a fowl, it was like a bird that had been starved for a long time. So dear students, we will read the story till here only, and I would expect you all to read it further. as I told you, the benefits of reading yourself, and uh, we will find out in the next session how Dr. Sadao helped the prisoner, and along with his wife, how did he take care of the prisoner. So that's all for the day. Thank you.